Hey everyone, it's Andre Luck here for my next video this week where I'm going to talk about the difference of selling B2C versus B2B within sports. And for the sake of this conversation, what I mean when I say B2C, which is business to consumer, is when a sports team's selling to an individual. So that's a fan, that's someone that maybe comes out to games with their family, comes out as a social event with their friends. There could be like different B2C type groups, so organizations like youth sports, a church, but for the sake of this, we'll just talk about like the individual contact that you're working with. And when I talk about B2B, there's organizations that maybe aren't corporations that we sell to, but for the sake of this, it'll be companies, corporations, those that are looking to use tickets or use partnering with the sports team to meet their business objectives. Typically on the client side, finding new prospects or looking to do something to engage and incentivize their employees. So um, the interesting thing about when you're working B2C, it's a really good place to start for B2B leads. And I'll touch on that there in a second. But over the years, I've slowly seen that transition from, very heavy, where it's mostly all outbound from a sales team, to slowly moving to now that's starting to be more automated. At some point in the future, that may be fully automated. But for the time being, I think there's still an opportunity to do outbound B2C. And I think a lot of the change has come with just the access to more information. When tickets went on sale, when you wanted to purchase tickets, 15, 20 years ago, you either go to the box office, you had to call in and talk to a salesperson, or they had to call and inform you that, hey, this package is coming out, or our mini plans just came out. All that information you can communicate through email, and a lot of people are more comfortable transacting online. So that's where I see it's slowly starting to shift to, more of that direct to consumer, that B2C behavior. Even if you're selling packages. More people are comfortable purchasing packages and making large purchases online versus it used to just be they'd purchase tickets for an individual game. People are buying suites, people are buying membership packages, even groups now online. So I see, if you're a head of sales, working very closely with, your marketing team, your analytics team to help build out kind of that motion and build out that flow. And how are we best communicating to these consumers to get them to purchase, individual games? If they come out to a few games, how do we get them to buy more games, eventually into a membership? And through whether it's video content, graphics, or nurturing based on where they are in their in the funnel or in the buying stage in their decision making process, what content are delivering to them to get them to what's the most logical next step to efficiently generate revenue and do it profitably for your organization. But if you are, running a sales team, whether you're an inside sales manager, director, VP, and you are going outbound from a B2C perspective, I would really work with your analytics team and drill in on the numbers. Understand, what's converting at a high rate, what type of leads, or is there a certain demographic or segment of people that we do really well with, and those that we don't do well with. All those low converting ones, which may be incremental, because in general, if you're upselling someone from a game to a package, that's usually less than 5% conversion rate if you're going outbound. If they're coming inbound, obviously those numbers significantly go up because they're showing interest, they're showing intent, and that's a much warmer lead. But if you have a team that's going outbound B2C, I would really look at and split up all the different leads that you're having your team call and see which ones are most efficient and lean into those efforts and see if you can get more leads like that. And those that aren't closing at a high rate, I would automate, or it just makes sense to maybe not even contact, because the amount of effort your time's putting into, calling those leads and hopefully getting someone to have a good conversation and convert to a sale may not be worth it. It might just be good to get them to come out to more individual games, which, from a business standpoint, might be more profitable because they'll be spending more per game and could generate more revenue. So I just really think through that. I know a lot of it in the past has been, well, we have to, I've been ahead of season ticket sales. And the most logical person to buy a season ticket on the B2C side is someone who's come out to multiple games. So give me as many of those leads as possible, and I'll have my team bang through those as many as possible, and just try and hit the phones really hard. That's great from an effort standpoint, but that might not be the best from a strategic standpoint and the best strategy for you to follow as a sales team. So I'd really look hard at that. Really have them focused on those opportunities based on your scoring models and historical data that show the most success from a B2C standpoint. So I'll shift over to B2B. That's what I want to spend more time on. I think there's a bigger impact within sports as it relates to the B2B side. As I said, a good place to start is those that already come to games. So, um, a lot of times when I was calling B2C, just because, the leads we were calling were probably more high quality, or they had purchased more games, or, spent more dollars on their ticket. So that played into our scoring model. A lot of times they were a decision maker at their company. They were a director, they were a vice president, they were a C-level executive. So if you could find a way to cultivate leads out of your current ticket buyers that maybe aren't raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I'm a business." They didn't use their business email address. They're using it for personal reasons. But if you could find a way to identify them, there's different tools and softwares, whether it's ZoomInfo, Sales Intel, where you can match up personal email addresses and see if there's a business profile, or if you have a good relationship with those people, just have the conversation with them, or on LinkedIn you could see what their roles are. That's a good way to cultivate warm business leads. You know that they're potentially a fan, that they come to games. There's less education on that front. It's a different type of conversation that you're going to have, but that's a good place to start, and just kind of cast a wide net to all of your fans, and see who raised their hand for business opportunities. Taking a little more strategic, I'd also look at who currently purchases for business reasons. So it's going to take a little work if you don't already have this mapped out in your CRM system, or you don't have a list of like, all right, here are our business accounts, but working with your team members that manage the accounts, or doing an audit of all your buyers, members, groups, suites, who's buying and who purchased for business reasons, and really dive in and look at the data. There's companies that can analyze the data for you and tell you, all right, here's your ideal customer profile based on who bought from you, who didn't buy from you, who told you no through opportunities that you had meetings with but didn't close. That's more to tell you, all right, that's not your ICP. Those aren't the people you should be focusing on, but here are the people that make the most sense based on historical data. So I'd look at your current customer set, look at the data, talk to your customers. Why did they purchase? What helped them influence their decision? And then you can kind of chart your strategy on the new business side of going to find new corporations and businesses to talk to based on all those insights. The other thing I'll touch on out of your current business, there's probably a lot of low-hanging fruit and opportunities. They already purchased from you. Maybe you haven't fully maximized the opportunity, or not even looking at it from a salesperson perspective, looking at it for what's best for the business. Are there things happening and working within their business that, make more sense for them to do, you know, greater spend with you? Maybe they have a membership, but they're looking to, there's an opportunity for them to purchase a group outing, or, to host their executives in a suite. Like there's a lot of opportunities you could look at within your current book, where they have a sister location, or another department within the headquarters that you work with. There's a ton of opportunity within your current book of business. So if you're new to going out B2B, that's the first place you start. Where are there opportunities in your current buyers? And then how do you find people that look like your current buyers, and start to build out your ideal customer profile, your outreach strategy, everything like that. The other thing I'd say is, like, be strategic. Think through who it is you're actually talking to. If someone's coming to you inbound as a business, there's a lot different conversation that you're having than if you're going outbound to somebody who has no buying history, really no interest. That person coming inbound, you got to assess where they're at. This may be their first time they're inquiring, and they're sourcing a few different vendors, or they're like, hey, I know exactly what I want to purchase. Do what's best for them. Don't make them run through the gauntlet if they're ready to go. Get them set up and look for opportunities ups on the back end. But if they're not at that point, don't jump straight to pitching. Don't jump straight to trying to sell them a product. Assess where they're at in the process. But if you're going outbound to somebody that hasn't purchased before, has shown no interest, all you're trying to do is have a conversation to see if it makes sense. You're just trying to get a meeting set. You're just trying to talk to them to say, hey, we work with other heads of finance, or we work with other heads of marketing in this industry sector, and I don't know if you could use this like they do, or here are the challenges some of them face, but I want to have a conversation to see if it makes sense for us to move forward. However you phrase that, however you script that, it's going to be different. You got to use your personality. So through your phone calls, your emails, your LinkedIn, all that, finding ways to connect them and cut through the noise to just get a meeting set. And then in that meeting, you're doing discovery. And in a future video, I could talk through like we're running a discovery meeting and what that looks like. But on the front end, you're just trying to get that meeting set. You're just trying to have a conversation with them to one, learn about their business, what their top priorities, what's their role within the organization, kind of set the stage for here's what I think could be a good fit for you, not necessarily jumping straight to, all right, here's the tickets that, you need to have, here's the tickets that I think you should purchase. You're really coming as a consultant to their business, trying to learn as much as you can in a quick, 15-20 minute discovery call. And based on you being the expert with the product that you sell, you know what's going to help them achieve their goals and their outcomes. So the best advice I was given in B2B sales is, you're selling business outcomes, not tickets. And one of the things that, I had to untrain some of my staff or even myself as I switched over to B2B sales, like we're so quick to pitch a product. And this probably resonates with all types of sales, not just tickets. That's just where, most of my experience is. But you really got to dive in there and understand like what's going to help them achieve their business outcomes and what's going to make that person, based on how they're, either scored or evaluated, or, if they're in a sales role, how they're evaluated from a number standpoint, and how are you going to show a positive ROI or a positive return on whatever investment that they're going to make with you, to achieve their business goals. And I would position, and I tell my staff that talk tickets last. Like we happen to have tickets and a venue that they can do it in, but we want to talk about how we can achieve your business outcomes. And then, oh yeah, where we differentiate is we do it at a ballpark. We do it at, this sports venue, which, is different than, any other place, going golfing or going dinners or going to lunch, at a local restaurant. Like that's the hook once you got them on and you have a solution for them, but really focusing on, um, what's the business outcome that they're looking to achieve and how you can help them with that. And then also understanding that, most of the people that you're talking to are not in market. 95% of the people are not ready to purchase, and those people typically come to you. So really think through when you're doing your emails, when from a high level standpoint, if you're marketing your product, like what information are you giving from a marketing standpoint that's just more high level educating, and maybe you're sharing some test cases, some case studies, some testimonials from clients that you purchase, just to, create awareness and interest so that when they do move in market or when they do have a need for your solution, you come top of mind. If we go too quick to trying to sell them something, you're going to turn them off because they're not ready, and you may, lose the opportunity to sell them something bigger later. So it's looking for those signals, for those key identifiers. And, I think in sports we haven't really figured that out yet. Like what is a good signal that tells us that we should be reaching out to somebody because there may be possible intent. There's intent data providers, that's still hit or miss on like the accuracy of that, but that is one way you can prioritize your leads, through some of these vendors. This company's showing interest in a product that you could offer. Maybe you start there, but a lot of it's testing, a lot of trial and error. I never was able to find like here's that one solution other than someone raising their hand and saying, I want to talk to you about how my business can do something with you. So I think, the more you could share best practices, within your team, across the leagues, other teams you work with, or that you have, good relationships with, that can help kind of hone in and prioritize, like, here's our outbound strategy. So really thinking through, how am I creating demand at the top of the funnel? And then as they move down the funnel, how do we make sure that we convert, and get those people on board and convert to a sale? The last thing I'll say, I think B2B has come a long way in sports. I think, like I've shared in previous videos, there's still a long way to go to catch other industries. But, when you're looking to grow, your fan base, that's a segment that's not fully tapped into yet. There's still a ton of opportunity. I mean, majority of your accounts, well, majority of your ticket buyers are going to be B2C. But depending on what products you offer and what you sell, more of those could be, more of the revenue could come from the B2B side than it does B2C. So it kind of helps weather the storm, offset maybe team performance and things that are maybe out of your control. Because if you can get fixed into their budget line item expense and showing a positive ROI, like that's something that, retains at a higher rate, less impacted by factors outside of your control, and can really help you grow and scale your revenue and tap into new revenue streams. So love to get your feedback, your comments on that. But that for me, when either coaching or teaching, or even myself going outbound and making sales efforts, that's the difference for me from a B2C versus a B2B standpoint. So share your feedback, share your insights. I'll come back next week for another video, but Appreciate you tuning in and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.